Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 40th Annual Sports Hall of Fame Enshrinement Banquet. My name is Ron Baklar, and needless to say, I stand here before you with mixed emotions. First of all, grateful to LeBron James and his fellow teammates for giving me this opportunity in an unprecedented second year in a row, substituting for Joe Tate. Thank you. The other emotion that I have is, well, the past few evenings, I've had a visitor in my backyard, namely a great blue heron coming to inundate my 600-gallon fish pond. I've been available to scare it away. And if I seem nervous tonight, I'm concerned for my little fish, because I won't be there to protect them. And I don't understand, a great blue heron, a little 600-gallon pond. I keep trying to tell it, there's a friend of mine, John Nesbitt, he's got a bigger pond, bigger fish, go there. There's Lake Erie, there's the Black River, why my backyard? Okay, I feel better, I got it out of my system. You're welcome, John. Also, I want to make it known that Tim Alcorn, another regular at the Sports Hall of Fame Enshrinement Banquets, will not be here this evening because the radio station he works for, WEOL, will be part of the Cavs broadcast. And certainly I want to point out for the imbibers that the bar will reopen for the dinner hour only, and then the bar will reopen after the program is completed for your socializing. And if all goes according to plans, we may be home in time to watch most of the second half. But you know about the best laid plans of mice and men. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to please stand as we bring forth Marlene Karpinski to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. On the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful job again. Thank you, Marlene. As always, a beautiful, beautiful job. And now it's my pleasure to introduce and to bring forward the president of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee, Bambi Dillon.
Good evening. On behalf of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee, it is with great pride that I welcome you to the 40th Annual Enshrinement Banquet. Tonight, we will induct the class of 2009, consisting of 8 individuals and 1 team, whose accomplishments continue to exemplify the high standards of performance in the sports arena. Our sincere congratulations to the new inductees, as well as their families and friends who are joining in this celebration tonight. These inductees have been selected by the committee members from a number of nominees who are submitted by you, the general public. If a candidate is not selected initially, their application will remain in the system for future consideration. Nomination application forms can be obtained from any member or at the museum located in the St. Joseph's Community Center. I would also like to extend my gratitude to all of you here tonight. Let's relax, dine, and enjoy this great time in the history of Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Before proceeding, we wish to welcome some special guests who participate in tonight's program. Seated at the table to the right of me, we have Mayor Tony Krashenko. We have Dr. Cheryl Atkinson, Superintendent of Lorain City Schools. We have clergy representative, Reverend James Smucker and his wife Sharon. We have the soloist Marlene Karpinski. Our guest speaker, Sam Retigliano. And my guest tonight, my sister Heidi Gedling, who is dear to my heart and is always supportive of all my endeavors. Thank you, Heidi. The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame proudly presents the class of 2009. We ask that you hold your applause until all inductees have been introduced. From the regular category, we have Andy Bastock, accompanied by his wife Ray. We have Jerome Butchko, accompanied by his brother Charles. We have Tom Klinkscales, accompanied by his wife Maxine. We have Ray Martin, accompanied by his wife Judy. We have Phil Parker, accompanied by his wife Sandy. We have Gerald G.T. Taylor, accompanied by his wife Karen. We have Ed Wright, accompanied by his mother Rosemary. From the special category, we have Lynne Hodan Zente, accompanied by her husband Tim. And from the team category, Lorain High School 1957 baseball team, represented by Coach Tony Misko and team member Bob Zalatel. Ladies and gentlemen, please join the committee in welcoming the class of 2009 into Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
And now we'd like to bring forward the Reverend James Smucker, pastor of Heritage Presbyterian Church, for the invocation.
This is indeed a special evening, and we need an evening like this in the midst of the things that have been happening to us these last 6 months. And I would like to thank all of the inductees that are here tonight for the way you are helping us to remember how important it is to perform and to use the gifts and talents that God has given us. Let us at this time lift up our hearts to God in prayer. O Lord our God, we give thanks for the committee that has made this evening possible, for the gift of sport, and for your presence here tonight as we are drawn together. We pray for your blessing upon this time, upon the food that we're about to eat. We pray that we might leave here tonight renewed. All this we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Let's eat. Right off the top, I would like to take this opportunity to express a sincere appreciation to Lenny DeLuca and the Place in the Park and his entire staff and crew for a really outstanding meal. I know my belly is filled. Also would like to express appreciation to our ensemble, to my far right, the Solid Brass, led by Tony Hawks. No promises, but if any speakers happen to go too long, you may hear them again. I just want you to know, forewarned is forearmed. All right, now, at this table, wearing a charcoal gray suit and a salmon shirt, our Polish gladiator, His Honor, the Mayor of Lorain, Tony Krashenko.
Good evening. We have a little formality to get out of the way first. I'm looking for a boxing coach. Any takers? See me after the ceremony. But thank you and welcome to 40th Annual Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Enshrinement Banquet. Please let me thank the committee. For the last 40 years, they have shown what is best in our sports in Lorain, and all of us that are here know how deeply we love our sports and how it's a part of our fiber here in Lorain. So thank you to the committee for making sure that this is an annual event and that it will continue on. And congratulations to all of our inductees this evening and all of our award winners. And a special thank you to Gerald Taylor. When I was in high school at Admiral King, I got to see him wrestle, and that convinced me that I was a football player. I saw that pancake, and I wanted nothing of it. But thank you, enjoy the evening, and congratulations to all.
Thank you, Mayor, and if your bout happens to be a success, you may be nominated for induction down the road. Who knows? Want to take this opportunity to introduce media and other guests with us this evening. Representing the Morning Journal, the general editor, Tom Scotch, and from the sports department of the Morning Journal, Brad Bourneville. From the Elyria Chronicle Telegram, Joel Hammond. The voice that is so recognizable in Lorain County, and especially amongst moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmas, and grandpas, not to mention the youth of Lorain County, WEOL's Jim Allen. And when it comes to sports that you can actually see here in the city of Lorain on the Time Warner cable, the man directly in front of me behind the camera, the man in charge of WLCS TV 20, Joe Bach. And if there are any members of the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame Committee, we'd like to have them stand and be recognized. Welcome, gentlemen. And if Josh Hayes, the general manager of the North Coast Knights, who will be playing baseball at the Pipe Yard, is present, we would ask you to stand to be recognized as well. Tonight, the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame observes the induction of our 40th class. The Sports Hall of Fame was founded in December of 1969 by a group of sportsmen in cooperation with the Lorain Chamber of Commerce under the leadership of Executive Director J. Ed Yulin. Current committee members Paul Baumgartner and Hank Kozlowski were members of that charter committee, and we would ask both to please stand and be recognized. The purpose was to honor Lorain residents whose athletic achievements exemplify the outstanding sports heritage of our community. The first class of 9 individuals were enshrined in April of 1970 and have grown to a total of 291 individuals and 23 teams. And you may refer to your banquet program on pages 6 and 7 for a complete roster of past enshrinees. Now, while a sizable number of those who have been honored are deceased, and many others reside in distant parts of the country, we welcome those enshrinees who are with us here tonight. We now request that those in attendance please stand for recognition. And since the MC sometimes has liberties, I would like to just recognize a dear friend and my neighbor who is not with us tonight, Alex Kaikai Oleko. The committee of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame appreciate the continuing support of all the past enshrinees. Time now for our guest speaker. Sam Retigliano certainly is no stranger to many folks in this room tonight. His NFL coaching career started 11 years before he was hired by Art Modell in 1978 as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. For the next 6 years, his Browns career included guiding the famed Cardiac Kids, and in 1980 winning the AFC Central Division Championship and was named the NFL Coach of the Year for the 1980 season. Following his Browns career, he was a TV football analyst and completed his coaching career as the head coach at Liberty University before retiring in 1999. And of course, as we suffer through the Brown season of the past, the only recognition that I have of this man is the joy I get every Monday listening to his comments after the game. Without further ado, I am pleased to present this evening's guest speaker, Coach Sam Retigliano.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and obviously I want to congratulate all the honorees here. I was at a banquet the other night, and being a coach, a teacher, and an educator, you want people to just like you are right now, to pay attention and to listen. Well, I had gone for about 3 to 5 minutes, and there were 2 people like Tony and Marlene sitting right there. And all of a sudden, Tony fell asleep. Well, I tried for about 2 or 3 minutes. Being a coach, you can't. If a guy's fell asleep in a meeting, I made him stand up for the entire meeting. And so I said, I just can't go on. So I said, Marlene, will you please wake up Tony? And she said, why should I? You put him to sleep. Let me share this with you. Bear with me right now. Why fathers have gray hair, and there are a lot of fathers here with gray hair, and those of you will be there someday. A father passed by his son's bedroom and was astonished to see the bed nicely made up and everything was neat and tidy. Then he saw an envelope propped on the pillow. It was addressed, Dear Dad, it was with great regret and sorrow that I'm writing you. I had to elope with my new girlfriend. I am finding real passion with Joan. I knew you would not approve of her because of all her piercings, tattoos, tight motorcycle clothes, and the fact that she's much older than I am. Joan says we're going to be very happy. She owns a trailer in the woods, and we share a dream of having many children. Please don't worry, Dad. I'm 15. I know how to take care of myself. I'm sure we'll be back someday, and you could have an opportunity to see all our children. Your son, Chad. P.S. Dad, none of the above is true. I'm over at Tommy's house. I just wanted to remind you that there are worse things in life than the report card that's in my desk drawer. I love you. I love you. Call me when it's safe to come home. You know, communication has to be the most important thing because 75% of communication is nonverbal. I know as a coach, what can be misunderstood will be misunderstood. But like the great playwright Schiller said, it's a matter of the economy of words and the quality of thought. It's kind of like John McKay was a coach at USC. He took the job as a general manager of Tampa Bay Buccaneers, had national championships, had Heisman Trophy winners. He proceeded to lose 28 straight games. And unfortunately, the press is right over there, a coach has to have a press conference. And those guys have the serial number of the unknown soldier. Hal Lebowitz once said, I never made a mistake in my life. The other day I thought I did, but I was wrong. Well, after John McKay loses his 28th game, he goes into one of those press conferences. And the very first question, the first writer says, Coach, what do you think of your team's execution? He said, I'm all for it. Or maybe this young man right here is going to graduate from the high school this year. And he says to his mom and dad, I'm going to Ohio State in the fall. I've been driving this car, which is a clinker. It's a load. I mean, how about an upgrade? How about a new car when I go to Ohio State this fall? His dad said, no problem. You come back 1 year from now, and if your grades have improved, and you've expanded your knowledge of the Bible, and you get a haircut, you got it. You got a problem? Somebody got a problem here? Okay. If you get a haircut, you got it. 1 year later, he comes back. He says, Mom and Dad, you've seen my grades. I've improved, obviously, in all of them. And I memorized a Bible verse every single day. And by the way, all those guys in the Bible had hair down to here. And his father said, that's right. And everywhere they went, they walked. Write it down. See, life's not measured by what we do. Life's measured by what we do for others. See, nobody's a whole chain. Each one is a link. But take away one link, and the chain is gone. Nobody's a whole team. Take away one player, and you no longer have a team. Nobody's a whole orchestra. Take away one musician, and the orchestra is incomplete. See, you guessed it. We need each other. Arthur Ashe, the famous tennis player, said, from what we get, we can make a living. But from what we give, we make a life. You see, there's nothing more important for all of us. I know that as a coach. High risk, high reward. Win, lose, you get fired. See, persistence has its rewards. To press on, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. I have been married for 54 years to the same woman. Divorce was never an option. Murder, but never divorce. We moved 19 times. My kids went to 23 different schools. She bought and sold 13 houses, so you know that she's a saint. See, education will not. Talent will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Nothing's more common than an unsuccessful man or woman with talent. See, genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Persistence alone is important. I'm moving fast because Bob gave me the word early on. About 10 years ago, I was coaching at Liberty University. And I got a call from the executive director of the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, to speak at the Hall of Fame. You know, it's a great honor because they never induct less than 5 or more than 7, and they speak at the Canton Civic Center where the inductees at that year, 5 of them, were getting their honorarium jackets. And so I said to Pete, what's the theme this year? He said, the theme is about character. The theme is about heroes. I said, Pete, a guy just wrote a book and said a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich. That image rates higher than character. That public opinion and how a person looks overlooks their character flaws. It's style over substance. Well, one of the inductees was Charlie Joyner, the great receiver of the San Diego Chargers, who played at Grambling University for Eddie Robinson. At that time, won more college football games than any college coach in the history. And then I found out that there weren't one hero, there were two. See, because Eddie Robinson was that guy, and I say right now, there isn't a person in this room at some time in your life there wasn't somebody that was a pastor or a mentor or a coach or a teacher that was that one common denominator that gave you the opportunity to make it where you are right now. And see, Charlie Joyner was selecting his hero, his coach, Eddie Robinson, and he was going to introduce Charlie Joyner. Then I went a step further, and I tried to find out in the dictionary, what is the definition of character? It's to scratch. It's to engrave. Integrity, you're the same on the inside as you are on the outside. Be more concerned about your character than your reputation. See, your reputation is what people say about you. Your character is what you're made of. Your spinal column's lined with backbone and not wishbone. You see, character is not given very easily. See, you have to build it up piece by piece. The acid test of character is to be grateful. You see, I say on my show during the course of the year with these great players who are making so much money. The first chapel I did for Butch Davis, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, and we were small talk, and he said, Coach, what's the difference between when you coached the Browns and now? I said, well, I didn't coach 100 years ago, but I'll tell you what the difference is. You're making $2,925,000 as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. More than I did. See, talent is God-given. Be humble. Fame is man-given. Be thankful. Conceit is self-given. Be careful. I said to one of our players who is a great player, and I think he will be a great player, but right now he's not playing the way he should. That there's no I in team, but there's two in idiot. You are responsible, and everybody up on this dais has done that as Hall of Famers tonight. They knew what the A game was, and I expect you to do it. I always told our players, don't tell me about the mules, just load the wagon. Get the job done. That's all I'm interested in. See, the older I get, the less attention I pay to what people say. I watch what they do. I said to every team I ever coached, what you do speaks so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. And boy, would that be something you would have to address this Browns team, who 2 years ago was 10-6, and 2 years ago had 5 guys in the Pro Bowl, and 2 years ago had a guy catch 82 passes, 16 touchdowns, more than any receiver that ever played for the heralded Browns. There are people here tonight that remember 1946 with Paul Brown, and they remember Blanton Collier up until 1970. So don't tell me about Pittsburgh, and don't tell me about the New England Patriots. The Browns were there, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be there, and I hope the new coach can do that, and I'm also praying about it. You see, you can lose your wealth, you've lost nothing. You can lose your health, you've lost something. But if you lose your character, you've lost everything. We mass produce everything in this country, but you cannot mass produce character. It's a matter of a personal identity. It's like an acrostic. It's always the same. Consistency confirms authenticity. Don't tell me how you're going to play, just get it done. And they're making enough money to do it. See, Hemingway said that character was grace under pressure, that life breaks people, and some of us grow stronger in the broken places. See, we all go through trials and tribulations. And through trials and tribulations, you gain perseverance. And through perseverance, you gain character. And through all of that, you gain hope. And that's what life is all about. See, winning takes talent, but to repeat takes character. Ability will get you to the top, but it takes character to keep you there. See, character is born in a storm. Character is like film. It's developed in the dark. And then finally, we cannot live our lives alone. For other lives we touch are either strengthened by our own or weakened just as much. And so the teacher said to the students, "Come to the edge." And they replied, "We might fall." The teacher again said, "Come to the edge." And they responded, "It's too high, it's too dangerous." And then, "Come to the edge," the teacher demanded. And they came. And the teacher pushed them, and they learned how to fly. Thank you.
Another super job, needless to say. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time in the program when the Hall of Fame Committee proudly inducts the class of 2009 into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. Tonight, we will induct 7 athletes whose athletic achievements have earned them special recognition. One individual who will receive the recognition for her outstanding contributions to the sporting community, and a team whose excellence brought fame to their school. I might add that these inductees were nominated by the general public, and with that said, if any of you believe that there are individuals or teams who deserve consideration for future induction into the Hall of Fame, it is up to you to obtain and to submit a nominating application to the committee. Application forms are available from any committee member or at the museum, and also from their website. Allow me now to present our first inductee, and please read the complete achievements of these outstanding people in your program book, since my remarks are going to be condensed and relatively brief. Leading off tonight's group of inductees from the regular category is Andy Bastock. 2 Lorain schools can claim Andy Bastock as a truly outstanding academic and athletic alumni. He earned 2 varsity letters in basketball at Southview High School, then transferred to Lorain Catholic High School to earn 2 more varsity letters. At LC, Andy was Lorain County's leading scorer, and as a senior was the first team All-Northeast District All-Star and third team All-Ohio. In his 2 years at Lorain Catholic, Andy became the school's 3rd best all-time leading scorer with 1,196 points. And his 27.2-point average was the best in Spartan's all-time history. Andy took his talent to Bradley University, where he was named on the Missouri Valley Conference All-Academic Team. Today, he is a mathematics teacher and the head boys basketball coach at Southview High School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andy Bastock into the Sports Hall of Fame.
I think you're always gonna.
Congratulations. Hang in there,
Thank you. I'm a Hall of Fame basketball player, but not a Hall of Fame public speaker. So please, I'm gonna read from a prepared statement. So my college speech teacher probably won't be real proud of all the eye contact I make with you. As a young player, I remember standing on the sidelines at Oakwood Park's basketball court, waiting for my chance to be able to compete against the older guys that I watched playing there day in and day out. Guys like Paul Wilson, Eddie Wright, and Albert Maldonado were the kings of the court at that time. And I aspired to be able to go out and not only play with them, but earn their respect and prove that I belonged on the court with them. From these pickup games, I developed the talent, determination, and persistence that I carried with me throughout my high school and college career. Every time I stepped onto the court in my high school career, I carried that desire to prove myself and earn the respect of everyone in that gym. As time went on, I realized my goals were helping me achieve something else, something more valuable than I could ever imagine or realize at the time, and that was an opportunity to continue my education at the post-secondary level. I was fortunate enough to have my academic ability, along with my athletic ability, open doors to a higher education and earn a full scholarship to Bradley. Basketball also offered many opportunities that I'm grateful for. I was able to travel to other countries, meet people from all walks of life, and establish friendships that lasted a lifetime. I've met, played with, and played against players that most people only read about. I've played for Hall of Fame and former NBA coaches who are tremendously respected throughout the community. However, at this time in my life, I feel my career in playing basketball is most valuable in coaching young men. I am very grateful and feel very lucky to be back in Lorain at Southview High School coaching young players. I enjoy the opportunity to help them become better athletes, better students, and most importantly, better men. They need to understand that athletes from Lorain can and have continued on to achieve greater things. They need to realize there is life beyond high school and that their opportunities are numerous if they make the right decisions. They need to know that their actions in high school, on and off the court, shape who they are and who they will become. That is where I hope to become an influence in their lives, just as people in my life have influenced me. These people deserve recognition today for all they have done for me. First, my mother and Hall of Fame father deserve my thanks for their unending and unconditional support. Not only throughout my playing days, but also throughout my coaching career. They are the best parents and fans anyone could ever hope for. My cousin Bob Bastock for helping me become stronger in the weight room and on the basketball court. His constant encouragement helped push me beyond my limits and maximize my potential. I respect everything he's ever done for me. My brother Billy for the endless hours of one-on-one in the backyard. He was my toughest opponent. Brad Frank for teaching me the meaning of toughness. If you know him, you know he is a true modern-day warrior. Hall of Fame coach Jim Lawhead for helping me obtain a college scholarship and for allowing me to blossom into the type of player I envisioned myself being. I appreciate the continued support and advice he's given me throughout my coaching career. Larry Stark for having the faith in me as a freshman at Southview to put me on the varsity team and allow me to earn a starting spot. To my wife, Ray, for giving me all the confidence I needed in starting my coaching career, and for all the things she does to help the Southview basketball program, and for all the things I put her through the last 72 hours. My daughter, Raven, for being the best and most supportive daughter any father could wish for. I hope she can develop the toughness and desire in her volleyball career that I had for basketball. And lastly, Keith Waters for doing all the work involved with nominating me to be a member of this prestigious Hall of Fame. I am thankful for this honor, and just as I strive to earn the respect of those kings of the court, fans, coaches, and players during my career, I am now happy to know I have earned the respect of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame and community. Thank you.
Our next inductee from the regular category is Jerome Jerry Butchko. Offensive linemen in the rough and tough sport of football are often lost in the pile of bodies once a play is underway. Not so with Jerry Butchko, a four-year letterman at the former Lorain St. Mary High School in 1950 through 1953. A starter his junior and senior years, he excelled enough to earn team MVP honors and was named to the Cleveland All-Catholic Diocese first team his senior year. Although recruited by several schools, Jerry chose Kent State University on a full-ride football scholarship. He earned 4 varsity letters, including as a starter his senior year. He played guard positions at St. Mary, but switched to offensive tackle at Kent. He returned to Avon, then back to Lorain following graduation, and in the 1960s became a line coach at his alma mater, St. Mary's High. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jerry Butchko into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. I'd like to thank the committee. This is a great honor, and I appreciate it very much. When I walked on a football field at Lorain St. Mary's, I was a young fellow, 13 years old, and it was quite frightening and a quite daunting task that I had in front of me. But with the support of my parents and the support of my brother and the moral support of all the family, I was able to continue on and not run off the field when I thought the world was coming to an end. With that young age, I was still able to do some hitting. And then 4 years later, went to Kent State. And again, I was a 17-year-old on the football field with a good number of Korean War vets. And so, again, the task was to measure up with my peers. I like football so much that over the years I felt that I needed to give something back. And once I got employment at U.S. Steel, I had the opportunity to start donating my time at St. Mary's as a line coach, and I did that for a few years. Then I was transferred to Pittsburgh area, and there I did some coaching of our local grade school for 3 or 4 years. So by giving back a little coaching experience or a little coaching knowledge that I had, I feel it was real rewarding. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I was telling Jerry before the program started this evening that I was an undergraduate at Kent State when he played for the Golden Flashers, and oftentimes sat in the stadium, which is now a parking lot at Kent State, and watched him play. Outstanding player. Our next inductee from the regular category is Tom Klinkscales. We may need an encyclopedia to chronicle Tom Klinkscales' athletic history. Suffice it to say, though, he excelled in basketball, football, and baseball at the following area schools: Clearview Junior High and Clearview High Schools, the former Hawthorne Junior High, Lorain High, and Admiral King High School. Tom also just happened to be a National Honor Society vice president. Such athletic and scholastic talent led him to Kent State University on a full-ride basketball scholarship. He earned 3 varsity letters in basketball and was team captain and most valuable player his senior year. Tom graduated from Kent State with a bachelor and master degree in education, and with that background, he became a teacher for 39 years. And that included 31 years as a basketball coach. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Klinkscales into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
It is indeed a privilege and an honor to be inducted into Lorraine's prestigious Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. Although unexpected, it is an honor that I will cherish the rest of my life. I'm very humbled by this award. I'm very appreciative of it and very thankful. I'm humbled because after 46 years, I am still remembered. To be mentioned with the great athletes that have performed in Lorain is really something special, and is something that I will always be appreciative of. Sports have always been a very important part of my life. It gave me the opportunity to go to college free, it gave me the opportunity to travel, and it gave me the opportunity to meet people that I never would have met. It also gave me the opportunity to better myself and to better my life. I would like to thank all of my former teachers and all of my former coaches for preparing me to deal with many of life's lessons. I also would like to thank my former teachers and coaches for giving me the inspiration to be a teacher and a coach. To have had the opportunity to teach for 39 years and to coach for 30, it was indeed a rewarding experience. I would like to thank all of the teachers who helped and worked with me and all the coaches. But there were two gentlemen who did the most in my life for me. They were my head football coach, Dr. Tony Misko, and my head basketball coach, the late Al McConaughey. These gentlemen never gave up on me. They always said something positive, and they would not allow me to fail. I will be indebted to these gentlemen the rest of my life. To my former teammates, I would like to say thank you for allowing me to share my athletic experiences with you. And most of all, I would like to thank you for being a true friend. To the Hall of Fame committee and all those individuals who were responsible for my being inducted into this great Hall of Fame, I want to thank you. To my wife, Maxine, I want to tell you that I love you. Thank you for being so supportive of me. Also, I'd like to say that growing up in Lorain was an exciting time in my life. When you grow up in Lorain, it creates a situation where you become tough. You compete against many outstanding individuals. We had great teachers, and we had great coaches. I would like to thank each and every one of those individuals in my life who was responsible for me becoming the type of individual that I am. Thank you very much.
You bet I'm going to brag on you, one of my former speech students. Good job, huh? You betcha. Before I introduce Ray Martin, I would suggest that you really do take the time to read his complete biography of achievements in tonight's banquet program. Now, talk about your all-around athlete. Those of you who remember Ray Martin back in the 1950s must recall his excellence in football, basketball, baseball, and track. He was at Lorain High School, where he would earn 10 varsity letters, 3 each in football and baseball and 4 in basketball. His prowess in track was at Hawthorne Junior High School, along with football and basketball. In Ray's senior season in football in 1959, he was chosen Team Most Valuable Player. He won the George Daniel Award, First Team All-Buckeye Conference, and made both the AP and the UPI All-Ohio First Teams. He was captain in basketball and co-captain in football and baseball. Ray received a full-ride football scholarship from Miami of Ohio, but in his sophomore year, he opted for a military career that lasted 21 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ray Martin into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Truly, I would first like to
thank God for the privilege and the opportunity of being here. I want to thank my wife, my sons, and my deacon that flew with me from California to be with me here tonight. I also want to thank my family that came from Chicago and all of my friends that have came out to celebrate this auspicious occasion with me. It has been a long time, but it's good to be home. And I thank God for everything that I learned at Lorain High School. Thank God for learning what teamwork was all about, that it's not an individual thing, but that other people are also involved in that. You don't win or lose by yourself, but you win and lose as a team. And so I'm grateful to be here this evening. I'm grateful to see all of my former teammates. And I thank God for the opportunity to have played football, basketball, and baseball in Lorain, Ohio. The most important thing to me about sports was that as a child, a ball was the only thing that really meant anything to me. And it was because of balls that kept me in school, because I knew that if I didn't keep my grades up, then I couldn't play ball. And so for that reason, I worked real hard to try to keep my grades up so that I could play ball. Also, as I get ready to take my seat, I don't have a long prepared speech, but there was a time in Lorain High School where if you did receive 3 varsity letters in any one sport, the same sport, they gave you a gold-plated ball with the letter L on it. I was blessed to have received 3 gold-plated balls. And so I would like to take this time to present these balls to Bambi, that they might be placed in the memorabilia in remembrance of me for their Hall of Fame. I thank God. I thank God for having the opportunity to meet a lot of former teammates, and it was excellent and good to see you. I thank God for all of the memories that I've had with you. We learned how to play together, we learned how to laugh together, and sometimes we learned how to cry together. And so I thank God for all of you. I thank God for this opportunity. I thank God for the committee. And if I don't see you again on this side, then I'm looking forward to seeing you on the other side. May God bless you and keep you.
Our next inductee from the regular category is Phil Parker. Although a Lorain resident, Phil excelled in football as an offensive and defensive stalwart at Amherst Marion Steele High School. He was virtually first-team all-everything in Lorain County scholastic football. This led to collegiate excellence at Michigan State University, where Parker became a 3-time All-Big Ten defensive back and a 2-time Spartan MVP. He was Defensive Most Valuable Player in the 1984 All-American Bowl and selected to play in the 1986 Hula Bowl. His coaching skills would start as an assistant graduate at Michigan State. Then he went on to the University of Toledo and the University of Iowa. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Phil Parker into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sam for getting Eric Mangini hired over here so I can quit answering questions about Kirk Ferentz coming to Cleveland, our head coach at Iowa. I appreciate that. Anyways, I'd like to thank the committee for this great honor. It's a privilege to be inducted into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame here. I'm really happy for that. I really enjoy my family and my friends, my relatives that have shown up Some come from Michigan, most of them are all in town here. I appreciate you guys coming, and friends and coach, I appreciate you coming, my position coach. I guess the things I want to say about when I first started out, playing football, started back in CYO football where everybody used to play around and have fun and put some pads on, and I enjoyed that. Then there came a point in my time where it's almost was going into junior high, you start doubting yourself whether you can play or not. I really believed at that time you have to be persistent. I was told I couldn't play anymore, and kind of walked out and gave it up for a year. The next year, it's kind of funny, the guy that I gave it up to is here today, is Wally Armour. He was the running back at that time, and they said I couldn't play because they already had a running back. Heck, I just wanted on the field. I said I'd play fullback. I don't think he's ever heard that story before, but so about the next year, I came out and I went out and I played high school ball, and I ended up doing a pretty good job through Amherst and at Amherst Steel. I had an opportunity to get a scholarship at the Michigan State University, where there once again was another challenge of being persistent and whether I could play in the Big Ten and how well could you be. And it took some time, but obviously I thought I had some good coaches on the way that kind of encouraged and kept my focus on in the right direction. And I happened to, what are you really doing? I kind of, sorry about that. I kind of see myself to this day still pushing guys as a coach. I had a great time. Met a lot of people in college. Met a lot of coaches. Been a lot of different places in the country. And now it's my opportunity to give back to the sport by, coaching at Toledo. I coached a lot of great players there, a lot of good kids, and I kind of changed their lives, and I still do that to today. I work with 18 to 22-year-old kids every day, and it's not easy. It's a lot of kids struggle nowadays, sometimes single parent. So it's been kind of a blessing for me to help these kids out and don't give up, keep fighting. And to me, football right now that's all I do. That's all part of my life here. And I think that's a great thing for Lorraine. That's kind of gave me a thing to push and strive to be the best of what you can do as a coach to help young kids. And to me, I really like to thank everybody here for inducting me into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame. I appreciate that. I like to congratulate the other inductees here. I think it's a great honor to be a part of this group. And I guess it's a sign of old age, but I appreciate it. And thank you once again for everything.
Our next inductee from the regular category is Gerald Taylor, affectionately known by many as GT. And by the way, GT is accompanied tonight by his mom, Lila. In the annals of Southview High School athletic history, mention football and wrestling, and immediately the name Gerald GT Taylor pops up. It actually started at Whittier Junior High School, where he also excelled in track. But at Southview, GT led the Saints Gritters in rushing and was a 3-year starter and 2-year captain. But it was in wrestling where he truly stood out, mainly in the 167-pound class. All 4 years he was a regional and state qualifier in his weight class. GT, as team captain, placed 3rd in the state tournament his junior year. Then, as a senior, he was state champion and All-Ohio. This earned him a wrestling scholarship to Arizona State University, where he was a 4-year starter. He went on to win NCAA 7th place All-American honors his junior and senior years. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome G.T. Taylor into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
I've got a little bit of a prepared speech, but first I'd like to start out by honoring the memory of two wonderful people. Jack Turnus was a great man. He happens to be Dan and Tom Turnus' father. He had a long and wonderful life, and he really touched a lot of us, so I just think it would be the right thing to do to just honor his passing this year. As well, a little girl named Najaya Boone, who's a cousin of mine. She was taken away at the age of 8, too early to be gone, but she's no longer with us, and I just wanted to honor her, so I wanted to take the time to do that. I'd like to thank the committee for nominating me because, honestly, this is rare air. I don't feel like I belong up here. Some of you might disagree, some of you might agree. But the reality of it is that this honor is way above me, and I'm truly grateful for it. But with that being said, this isn't about me. I mean, I'm not here to talk about myself. I am in one aspect, but not about my accomplishments, about who I am and what it means to be here. To me, it starts at the beginning, and the beginning was when my mother Lila and my brother Robert and I came here from Pennsylvania. I mean, we came here, pretty much poor and penniless, and we wanted to take a new start in life. My Aunt Sandy and my cousin Cleachy and my cousin Roy followed us out here, and from that point on, my family just grew. My aunt had another daughter named Tasha, and we just continued to just grow and grow and grow. The Dickersons became a part of our family, and the Wootens became a part of our family. Petey Wooten, who's probably one of my first heroes. I mean, there's Jimmy Moon, who was inducted in 1981, who I remember dearly. And then Petey, he was my hero. I mean, he's the guy who, not only was he a great mentor, but he was a great cheerleader, and he was a great supporter, and how could you not say stuff about these people? The Turnuses became part of my family. The Torreses, the Cruzes, the Vasaldins, all these people adopted us. They brought us into their families, and they helped us grow. I guess my point here in saying all this is that Lorain has always been my family. It's just, that's how it's been. The direct impact of key people in my life have molded me and my family into what we are today. And what more can you say? Lorraine is my mother, and not to take anything away from my mother, who, the reason I'm in this trouble right now is because of her. That's ultimately what it boils down to. But if you ask me who am I, I'm just a South Lorain boy, who adores his family, who loves his community and friends, who played sports a long time ago just to keep himself out of trouble and to meet friends. Who loves to learn, and I took each lesson to heart that I learned in school. I was cradled by key people in the community. They kept me on the straight and narrow, and they showed me that with hard work and dedication and a lot of support that I could make the impossible dream possible. This is Lorain to me. I took serious every person that impacted my life. I believed in everything that they said, everything they told me. If they said it could be done, I believed it was true. And that's the way I lived my life. If Lila Jean Taylor told you that you were great, funny, and talented, you better believe it. That's that's the deal. You were. If Miss Myrtle Peoples, God rest her soul, told you that you were a smart kid, you were a smart kid, okay? Ron Majors and Rick Hands, they tell you you're a good athlete, and that someday you could be great. That's the truth. If Dan Turnus and Tom Turnus tell you that you got what it takes to be a state champion, don't doubt them. You got to believe them. This is the truth, and it just, from that point on, it goes on and on. But the reality is that if the community believes in you, and they stand behind you, and they push you, and they cradle you, and they just harness everything that you've got in you, they are telling you the truth. Not because they said it, but because they believe it, and they push you. They pushed you, and they said if you can go to college, or if you can join the armed services and make some small contribution, or even a great contribution to your community, to your country, it's the truth. And you stand behind it, you believe it, because that's the truth. I apologize for going over, but I just wanted to share this moment with you today because this is why I'm here. Lorain, thank you. The committee, please, thank you very much for that.
I should charge extra for this service they stuck me with. The final inductee from the regular category is Ed Wright, who is considered by many to be one of Lorain High School's greatest basketball players. The 6'6" Wright shattered Lorain High School's single-game season and career scoring records. Ed was named to the All-Buckeye Conference teams in both his junior and senior years, and he was named team MVP and to the All-Ohio second team in his senior year. In his 4 years as team leader in virtually every statistical category at Lorain High, the Steelers won 63 games and lost only 26. And in the 1983-84 season, went 19-4, the school's second best record to Earl McCaskey's all-time best 20-2 mark in 1929-30. Eddie went on to play at Alvin Community College in Texas. Then recruited by Michigan State, Ed was a 2-year starter and made major contributions as a scorer and was named Defensive Player of the Year as a senior. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eddie Wright into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
I, too, am not a great speaker, just like Andy said. But, Andy, you're definitely accepted in my book. Looking at page 16, wow. I guess I'd like to say thank you to the committee. I'd like to give a very special thanks to a person that was very, very instrumental into me being in this point in my life. That would be my mom, Rose Wright. I'd like to thank all my former coaches. Tonight, I guess I've seen Mr. Hartman. Mr. Hartman was one of the ones that I've seen here. I'd like to say thank you for all your help and all your leadership and guidance that you gave me as a young man. When thinking of a topic for tonight's speech that I had, I sat and I thought, what could I speak about? What would the topic be? So while reflecting on my career, I sat and I said, well, what would be the most outstanding achievement? What could be the biggest contribution, or who contributed the most to my success? So I pulled out my scrapbooks and I looked over all my old clippings, and there was one constant thread that was there for all those articles. And that was a very special teammate that I had. And that teammate was my uncle, Wardell Wright. In the early 80s, when you think of Lorain High basketball, you think of the Wright brothers. We weren't brothers. A lot of people didn't know that. We were uncle and nephew. And he was a very, very special player. I contribute a lot of my success to him, whether it been through him finishing an assist from me, setting a pick for me to get open to get a shot. I think Wardell made it easy for me to become the player that I was. With him being there, it made me more comfortable. It made me more confident. And with that confidence became that ability for me to shine. So with that, I guess I stand here and I say before you, accepting this very special award, I would like to say thank you on behalf of myself and the Wright family. And this goes out to my son, all my sons, and my daughters and my wife. Thank you.
Representing the special category is Lynne Hodan Zente. If Lynne Zente had a ring for every coaching championship in her career, she surely doesn't have enough fingers to wear them all. While volleyball ranks number 1 in her list of championships, she also excelled in coaching girls varsity softball, basketball, track, and gymnastics. Her career was mainly coaching volleyball at Lorain High School for 21 years, but also included coaching roles at Admiral King High School and in the Lorain St. Mary's CYO program. But one need only review her varsity volleyball record at Lorain High, where she stands alone as the school's only coach in that sport. Among her titles are 8 sectional championships, 4 district championships, 2 regional championships, 7 conference championships, and 1 high school state semi-championship. Lynne was also a standout high school and collegiate volleyball and basketball athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lynne Hodan Zente into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to start mentioning the committee members and the co-inductees, so I just will get started to my little speech that I had prepared. I am thrilled that the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame organization has selected me to join the ranks of so many accomplished teams and individuals. It is an honor and a privilege to be up here. When I was considering what exactly I wanted to say for this occasion, I was thrown into that age-old dilemma, how long and how much needs to be mentioned. There is that elusive point when it is not too long or too short, like the baby bear's bowl of porridge in Goldilocks. It's just right. And I personally think that a teleprompter would have made things much simpler for me, but I resigned myself to the fact that I would have to be winging it. Most people would agree short and sweet should be my guidance, but I think most students that happen to know me know that I don't usually keep it very short, and sometimes it's not always that sweet either. But I can't oversimplify the years of hard work by so many people. First and foremost, I need to recognize and thank my husband, Tim. Without his total support and encouragement, I could not have survived the many years of long hours and exhausting practices. Next, I need to mention my 5 children, Stephen, Quinn, Chase, Dane, and Trent, who I feel in some ways suffered, but in many more aspects gained from my coaching involvement. I thank them for all of their patience and understanding. Continuing on, I feel I should thank and mention my great assistant coaches. Believe me that after the first few years, when I was doing both junior varsity and varsity myself, I greatly appreciate all of their help. And it is also fitting at this time that I mention my varsity assistant, Cindy Llewellyn, for her nominating me for this award and recognition. If I can digress a moment and take a short detour from my list of those deserving gratitude, I need to touch the area of accomplishments. The newspapers, tonight's program, and the radio personalities have been extremely kind with presenting my coaching achievements, and I don't feel it necessary to relive victories or rehash our close upsets. Everything about students participating in athletics is rewarding. But I would like to briefly share my coaching expectations. As most people know, teachers, parents, students, success in school is measured or demonstrated in accomplishing straight A's. My philosophy of coaching leaned more towards straight D's. You see, I expected my players to exhibit desire, dedication, determination, and discipline in their participation. And this leads me to my last and largest thank you, and that is for all of my prior student athletes. Without their D effort, I would not be here today. So if I can, I'd like to give them one great big giant thank you to the many, many, many athletes who helped bestow this honor on me. And I'm hoping now that you guys all have had Baby Bear's size bowl of porridge.
Tonight, we honor the Lorain High School 1957 baseball team. And before I proceed any further, we invite all team members to come forward for the presentations. In its long history, Lorain High School had only 2 athletic teams ever advance in tournament play to a state championship game. The first was the 1922-23 Lorain High basketball team, which won the state Class A title. Joining them as a state finalist is the Lorain High 1957 baseball Steelers, coached by Tony Misko, himself a 1997 enshrinee. The 1957 baseball team, led by pitcher Bill Fazekas, won sectional and district tournament games all their way to the regional title game, where they were defeated by Euclid High School, which had, by the way, a 10-game winning streak. Fazekas pitched the state semifinal victory over Columbus St. Charles, which moved them to the state finals. Unfortunately, Lorain High lost to Reading in the championship game to a pitcher named Claude Osteen, who, by the way, went on to a great major league career on several teams, including the Los Angeles Dodgers. Accepting the commemorative plaque will be Coach Tony Misko, and team member Bob Zelatel will present the team and will introduce the players. President Dillon will present a commemorative certificate to each team member as they are introduced. And we ask that you please hold your applause until all players have been introduced. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Lorain High School 1957 baseball team into the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame.
What I'd like to do first is to introduce the players, and then Coach will have a few things to say. We'll start with Tom Brown. If you would step forward, receive your certificate. We have 4 members of our team that unfortunately have gone before us. They have people accepting for them, members of the family. I'd like to recognize them. First, from Tommy Butchko. Accepting for Tommy is his sister, Mary Jo Kamnikar. Bert Campbell, who is a 6.5-year POW in Vietnam. Accepting for Bert is Nick Kersey. Jack Chet, accepting for Jack is his wife Kay. Bill Fuzzy Fazekas, accepting for Bill his sister Judy Ferner. Bambi, take a breather for a second there. As I mentioned, 4 individuals. I'd like to give their names. They were unable to make the banquet tonight, but they were members of the team. Some of you would know these names. Joey Genscher, Alan George, Bob Sokowitz, Frank Sukalek. our team manager that did all of the hard work and carrying for us. I told you it would happen someday, Bob Godleski. Don Hayden, accepting for Don is his brother Dan. One of our mainstays, shortstop Dick Kalo. The fellow who I was backup to, not a prototype first baseman, but he did a heck of a job, Pete Kohlmeyer. Bill Long, and accepting for Bill is his brother Richard. I know some of you will remember this next man, Ray Slater Martin. Ray. Dennis Trelka. I know a lot of you know this next name. I don't believe he wore his jacket, but you will know the name, Chuck Bucky Urbanek. Dave Young. And I'm honored to join this group, myself, Bob Zelatel.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody responsible for these people, the young men, athletes of Lorain, Ohio, for what they have accomplished, being the second team in the history of the school, going to the finals of a major sport. I sit back and remember my first days here in Lorain. And probably I was most blessed that I came to this community. Treated very fine, respected, and try to do the best job I can. I am the son of a coal miner who says you're going to go away to school. He meant elementary and grade school. Fortunate enough to have somebody interested to take me to Kent. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and speak basically of this being what some people call a Cinderella team, or whatever term you want to apply to it. And indeed, they were a Cinderella team. We had very few returning people, 2 people primarily, who had varsity experience. The 2-3 years before that, we had some very fine ball players, Reichert, Hartman, that group. But for some reason, this group pulled together in such a way that they made themselves, I think, one of the finest groups that you could put together. One thing in our favor was we had a big right-hander, a fellow by name of Bill Fazekas, who played third base. So we made a picture of him. I shouldn't say we made a picture of him. He did it himself. He pitched in the primary games, and most of the games we played were not scheduled games because of the weather. As a result, he pitched one tournament game after another. He was a tremendous pitcher. He was a strikeout pitcher. He was a hitting pitcher. And I just wish he were here, along with the others who have not been able to be here. We had 7 wins to get to Columbus. And I had been asked, why didn't you pitch Fuzz in the final game? The answer is very simple. I didn't want him to get hurt. I talked to him personally after that long game we had down there, the 10-inning ball game in tremendous heat and moisture. And I explained to him he had a possibility of going somewhere. And I didn't want to take any chance of he getting hurt. Right now, I'd like to go ahead and thank 2 people most responsible for me. That is my mother and dad, both illiterate peasants, son of a coal miner. I don't know what to say about this team. There's so much you can say about it. I've met them, I've talked to some of them. Here I've met people after people after people. I recognize faces and voices. And I'm very thankful to each and every one of you to come here tonight to honor this baseball team as being one of the finest in the history of Lorain at this time. I want to thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And by the way, this announcement for all the team members, after the program is completed, all the team members are to go over to the Evergreen Room, which is the one next to it, for a team picture, please. We come now to the portion of the program where we have the 2009 Yulin Awards presentation. Will the first group please come forward? The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame annually honors the memory of J. Ed Yulin, one of the founding members of the Hall of Fame, by presenting scholarship awards to the outstanding senior male and female student athletes nominated by the participating schools. Criteria for judging includes class rank and GPA, athletic achievements, and community service or extracurricular activities, all of which have equal value. Secret ballot voting by the committee determines the 2 winners of the $1,000 scholarship awards, with the runner-up nominees each receiving a $500 grant to the college of his or her choice. The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame gratefully acknowledges the financial grant received from the Lakeland Healthcare Corporation Board of Directors to assist in funding the scholarship awards. The complete biography of accomplishments for these outstanding nominees are listed for your reference on pages 42 and 43 in the program book. Of our 3 nominees on the front, Danielle Redinger, nominated by Southview High School, class rank 32nd out of 269 with a 4.074 GPA. National Honor Society member, Key Club, model perfect attendance, multiple letter winner in softball and volleyball, Scholar Athlete Award, winner in both sports, participated in the Girl Scout program for 13 years, and Danielle's college plans are open with plans to study pre-veterinary science. Brianna Shaw, nominated by Clearview High School, class rank 11th out of 139 with a 3.945 GPA. A member of the National Honor Society, multiple letter winner in track and cross country, Patriot Athletic Conference Player of the Year in track, school record holder in the 5K cross country event, volunteer at the St. Leonard's Girls Camp, and Brianna plans on attending Ohio University to major in nursing. And our third nominee is Lindsey Wilson, nominated by Admiral King High School. Lindsey's class rank is 14th out of 289 with a 4.349 GPA. A member of the National Honor Society, a 4-year honor roll member, multiple letter winner in basketball, softball, and volleyball, team captain for the 2008-09 basketball and volleyball teams, volunteer with the Second Harvest Food Bank and Blood Drive, and Lindsey plans on attending college to study early childhood education. I won't pretend I'm Karnak. Instead, we will open the envelope. Johnny Carson was able to do that a lot easier. And the winner is Lindsey Wilson.
Okay, all of my coaches told me to have a speech prepared just in case I did win, so I did type something up. I would like to thank the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame for this outstanding honor that I have received here tonight. Secondly, I would like to thank my mother for always pushing me to strive for academic excellence, as well as making me give 100% effort on any court or field that I have played on. You allowed me to play as many sports as I wanted to, even though it meant that dollar after dollar came out of your paycheck every year to pay for uniforms and shoes. Without you, I would not be standing up here today receiving this award. I would also like to thank Mr. Corey for being the athletic director. You have really changed how sports have been seen in Lorain. Thank you to the Superintendent of Lorain City Schools, Dr. Cheryl Atkinson, for all of your hard work to better our school system. A big thank you to all of my past coaches for teaching me the love of the game and having faith in my abilities to help them win. A special thank you to my basketball coach, Coach Cheryl Bancic, for nominating me for this award and spending all the time that I know that she didn't have to help me get this. And a big thank you to my teammates, because without any of them, I wouldn't have been up here today. They gave me experiences to grow from and to grow as a player. And lastly, I would like to thank my teachers for never giving up on me when I didn't know the answers to a problem. And for knowing what I know now, knowing what I have known all along, that I'm a scholar athlete and that I can achieve anything that I put my mind to. Thank you.
We would now ask the second group, the males, to please come forward. I'm a soft touch too, Dr. Atkinson. I can cry when somebody else does. Our first nominee is Josh Bieber, nominated by Southview High School. Class rank 6th out of 269 with a 4.65 weighted GPA. Member of the National Honor Society, National Merit Scholarship semifinalist, multiple letter winner in football and basketball, basketball team MVP in his junior and senior years, volunteer tutor for other students, and Josh will attend Harvard and play basketball. Our second nominee is John Rosser IV, nominated by Clearview High School. Class rank 25th out of 139 with a 3.655 GPA. a member of the National Honor Society, Buckeye Boy State 2008, multiple letter winner in baseball, football, and basketball, team captain in both baseball and football, church activities volunteer, and John's college plans are open, planning to study sports management. Our third and final nominee is Andre James. Andre was nominated by Admiral King High School, his class rank 89th out of 289 with a 3.46 GPA. A multiple letter winner in football and basketball, football, first team All-County, All-League, and All-Northeast District, second team All-Ohio. He is a student mentor and tutor, a father figure with his mother for 5 younger siblings, and Andre will attend Ashland University on a football scholarship. And our winner is Josh Bieber.
Unlike Lindsey, the first I heard of his speech was in the car on the way over here, so forgive me if I'm a little less prepared. First and foremost, I'd have to thank both of my parents. I wouldn't be anywhere near the student or the athlete that I am without them. I owe pretty much everything to them. It's an honor to receive this award among 2 other worthy nominees, and also to now be mentioned with the many great athletes that have received it in the past. I'd like to thank the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee for this award. I will use it to the best of my ability. Thank you.
The Lorain Sports Hall of Fame is pleased to congratulate those individuals whose athletic achievements have been recognized with special honors and awards. Tonight, we recognize 2 individuals who have attained All-Ohio honors for their performances during the 2008 football season. The first player is Chris Kimbrough, a senior from Admiral King High School who was named to the Division I defensive first team for his stellar play as a cornerback. This plaque is being presented in recognition of this honor, and the presentation being made by President Dillon. Sure? You sure? Oh, we tried. Our second player is Anthony Hitchens, a senior from Clearview High School, who was named to the Division IV offensive first team as a running back. This plaque is presented in recognition of this honor. What's this? Follow the leader? Congratulations to both of these young men on their outstanding athletic achievement. The final special tribute this evening is being presented to Albert Stacy, boys varsity basketball coach at Admiral King High School. The Admirals, under the leadership of first-year coach Stacy, had one of the better seasons in school history with a 21-1 record. And in recognition of this success, Al received numerous Coach of the Year honors, including the prestigious Division I All-Ohio Co-Coach of the Year by the Associated Press. We congratulate you, Al, on this honor and present this plaque to commemorate this great honor to you.
Thank you. First, I'd like to congratulate all the inductees tonight. I think this is special for you because, as some of you know the name Stacy, we've been in sports for 50-odd something years, maybe 60. I can't remember that far back. But without those young people that were up here before me, none of this could happen. And it always seemed that every time I read the paper, there was always something negative about Lorain. I just hope that the young men that partake this year brought something positive back to this community, because it's a great community. There are great kids here. They don't read about them. You don't hear about them. But believe me, I'm working with a great bunch of young people in that high school. And believe me, they are great kids. And I'd like to say thank you, and we will continue. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to express thanks to those involved in making this another special event. First, to Ron Baklar. When the Cavaliers' schedule demands that Joe Tate be elsewhere, we are indeed fortunate to have Ron Baklar on standby. We value your dedication to the Hall of Fame, and thank you for a fine job. Let's have a round of applause for Ron Baklar. Next, to Sam Retigliano. Thank you for your enlightening speech and participating at our 40th Enshrinement Banquet. We can't forget Lynne DeLuca and the staff here at DeLuca's Place in the Park. Thank you for your cooperation in making this another successful and enjoyable event. Finally, to the banquet chairman, Bob Lisicki, and the banquet committee, to the program book editor staff, to advertising coordinator Ted Driscoll and staff, to Harvey Herman, chairman of the screening and narrative committee, and to all committee members for their dedicated efforts in producing this event to honor excellence in athletics in the city of Lorain. And a little plug here for fundraising. The next activity is our annual golf outing fundraiser on Saturday, July 18th at Fox Creek. If you're interested in supporting this event through host sponsor program or being a participant, application forms can be obtained from Golf Chairman Bob Tomaszewski or any committee member. We invite you all to visit the Hall of Fame Museum at St. Joseph's Center. For details and schedule of hours, please see your program book, page 31. Finally, we thank you for your support by being here tonight. At this time, we'd ask Reverend Smucker to come up for the benediction. And as he's coming up, I just have one thing to say. Happy birthday to fellow Sports Hall of Fame member Joe Lindsey.
We truly have been blessed tonight. We've been blessed by the work of the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame Committee and the many people that worked with them on this. We've been blessed by some marvelous words of the people that have been enshrined tonight. And because of that, I think we also have been blessed by God in a very special way. I personally have just sensed the presence of the risen Christ, the Spirit of Christ in our midst tonight. That's from my own personal perspective. And I think it's marvelous what's happened here. I really was taken by many words, but one of the things that Mr. Klinkscales said caught my heart about the coaches that never gave up on him. And that got me to thinking about how people around us that care about us don't give up on us. It got me to thinking about the Spirit of God and how God never gives up on us either. So I think we got to take that and remember that we should never give up on ourselves because of that. We should never give up on one another because of that. And we should never give up on Lorain County. There's good things going on here. Good things. So take these blessings that we've received from these people tonight and be a blessing to others. Go with God's blessing. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Very nice job as always. Thank you so much.
This has been a production of Lorain City Schools TV 20 WLCS.